Welcome to Versus!
Boundaries are very important.
Very, very important. I mean, we've shared hotel rooms before.
Yeah, beds.
Beds even, like we've shared a queen-sized bed before. We made it a point to have like one of those hugger pillows in between us. You know, that's how important boundaries are.
No spooning.
Only at night.
Because
before going to sleep.
You can't go like hugging people. That might create a lot of very awkward situations.
Just awkward. We all know how boundaries are so important.
But what more like nationalities or
for sure.
Kingdoms?
Yeah, I mean,
boundaries are very important.
People are so protective of territory.
Yeah.
You know, especially countries, like if you don't have a visa, you can't get in. If you don't have, well, obviously a passport, you can't.
A foreigner boyfriend.
Wouldn't it be nice to have, nations that are so well equipped to deal with foreign invaders?
I know, right? No, but that's the thing, I guess because of the current situation of Wakanda as, in the forefront of our like cultural references.
Right.
We decided to pit Wakanda against another fictional kingdom.
What other nation could stand up to a nation as great as Wakanda?
Ooh. Atlantis! Yay!
Yay. Alright, so it's Wakanda versus Atlantis today on the show. How well equipped is Wakanda to deal with Atlantis invading them? And vice versa.
Yeah. And since we are talking about Wakanda, the MCU version, and since Atlantis has its, history from like Plato and all that, we shall
Disney
kind of get into the DC Comics / DC version
of Atlantis.
Of Atlantis, the one with Aquaman as their leader.
So we're going to be talking about how impenetrable each country is. I mean, I think we all know how difficult it is to penetrate Wakanda. For the longest time, Wakanda has closed its borders to foreigners. Bawal afam, wala, hindi pwede.
Well, not to mention, you can't see it. Well, you know how like they say, you can't penetrate this. But then, before you know it, with the right
9 months later.
I mean, hello, in the movie, it was penetrated severely and in many places.
So it was not just a single penetration.
There were weak points.
Multiple angles kind of thing.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's what happened in the movie. Well, with Atlantis, you have the obvious. It is like deep into the ocean. So obviously...
It'd be deep penetration.
Air... Yes.
Yeah.
But you'd have to go through a lot of water first.
Right.
And you'd have to, if you were an air breather, that is your number one problem. Can you hold your breath long enough to penetrate? Because, that is a long ways down. You would need like a really long submarine to like penetrate Atlantis.
Full sea, man.
Now, men of the sea.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
right.
That's the thing.
No, but that's okay. Just to give you guys a little, I mean, if we're talking about the cinematic universes here, I'll give you that. Okay, Wakanda was penetrated by Thanos. Have you seen the size of Thanos? You've seen his hands, right? Like, you can imagine the kind of force that he has. It's an interdimensional, like, intergalaxy type force.
Okay.
So it kind of makes sense that, they're impenetrable to humans, but like the other outworldly beings, then they'd be penetrated. But think of it this way. That was an entire scene in Infinity War where they were basically trying to get into Wakanda. And if you really think about it, they had a hard time getting into it. The only reason that they really got into the heart of Wakanda is because they actually decided to open up the barrier.
Yeah.
Remember that was like one scene where Black Panther was like, oh, we need to open up the barrier. Because like, that's a horrible rendition of Black Panther, by the way. But they basically had to open it up to sort of funnel everybody into that, it kind of had like a 300 Spartan kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Like they had to funnel everything so that it would be focused in just one spot. Whereas, if you look at Atlantis, from the Justice League movie, it was so unimpressive how Steppenwolf was able to penetrate Atlantis. They didn't even show it anymore. Like, he was just, boom, I'm here. What's up, Mira? I'm taking your mother box. It was that easy because it was that
I must agree, but that was a very quick glimpse. Because remember, with Wakanda, we had an entire movie to explain what it can do, the wonders that it held. Of course, it's a little bit difficult because we don't have the Aquaman movie yet.
Right.
Which would probably highlight Atlantis more in the same way that Black Panther highlighted Wakanda. But in the comic book world, it actually is a little bit more kick-ass than that. There's even this thing that they can pounce on you. It's called the Crown of Thorns.
Okay.
Which is actually, it's a starfish. But it basically stops you from entering. Even Mira, with her hard water.
Was it a chocolate starfish?
No. Even Mira could not penetrate.
Oh.
And so nobody goes in, nobody goes out. So even mystical creatures, even strong creatures cannot penetrate
the starfish.
Not the starfish, the Crown of Thorns.
Okay.
So I don't know if they will ever incorporate that into the Aquaman movie, but definitely it's very similar to Wakanda's force field.
Let's talk about the size of their armies. Think about it. Wakanda has one of the most advanced armies in the world, at least in the cinematic universe. And I love how socially relevant Wakanda is. You know how the Black Panther movie was such a great thing for African American actors out there. But at the same time, they have a special task force. It's called Pride. So they're super socially relevant. Not only are they dealing with African Americans, but also our friends from the LGBTQ++ community.
I don't know if that's what they meant by Pride, but okay.
They're called the Princess Regent Intelligence. What is it? Princess Regent Intelligence Division Executives. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
So Pride. See, they're so oh my God, and it's Pride Month. Yay!
Straws. Straws.
They're so socially relevant. That's what's great about Wakanda. They're such a powerful country, but at the same time, they're so advanced in their ways of thinking. They're so, racially diverse. They're so open to the LGBTQ++ community.
Okay, I must admit, when it comes to that, the Atlanteans are more us versus them.
Right.
Yeah. They're not exactly
not very inclusive.
Nope. Very friendly, especially with the air breathers. Yeah. They like to keep to their own.
Yeah.
But in terms of
hindi sila mahilig sa interracial.
They are formidable, and for fans of the very popular Flashpoint story arc. Remember, in the alternate universe, the Amazons.
The Amazons were at war with
the Atlanteans, and the entire world was practically destroyed because of it.
Because of their
That's
war.
how formidable both armies are.
What did Wakanda ever do?
Remember how we're always talking about all these other super powered races, but we've never really heard Atlantis being such a military power until Flashpoint, where they were showing how the Atlanteans are really scary creatures. Same thing with the Amazons. So it is formidable, and they got what it takes. And even in the comic books, when Aquaman tried to breach the peace between the United States.
Breaching and penetration going on.
And Atlantis, both when they went to war, it was pretty much an even match.
One of the things that I love to do whenever I travel is I think about what it's like to live there.
Ooh.
And if you really think about it, I feel like Wakanda would be such a great place to live in. Minus the whole Infinity War thing. One, they're so technologically advanced, but at the same time, they keep their roots together. You know what I mean? And literally, their buildings are built on top of trees, but it's a technologically advanced tree house. And whenever you start walking around, they showed this in the Black Panther movie. There was a scene there where they were basically at a market, and everybody looked like they had a good time. Everybody looked like they were having fun. It did not look like there was poverty at all, except for maybe the border tribes. The border tribes kind of looked like they were slumming it out, but in their little huts. But I felt like their huts at least had air conditioning. And they had
because it was hot
for T'Challa wanted to sell technology to the outside world because he knew how valuable it was. And this is for me this is a legit thing because it's something concrete.
Right.
It's something that's it's still grounded in reality.
Well, okay. So I must give it to Wakanda that I'm thinking Wakanda will be the more enlightened, society, because Atlantis is pretty OG.
Yeah. Again, they're not very inclusive.
There's a lot of unrest within their society. There is called the Ninth Tribe, which is like the bottom dweller community where all the unwanted people are, or people, because some of them are like weird sea creatures. So there is a lot of unrest. Like the rich are really rich, the poor are very poor. There's a lot of social inequality.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, there is like military abuse, there is power abuse.
Bawal din ba tambay dun?
I know, right? Of course, if I were part of that, I would probably be part of royalty. So that might not be my initial problem, because I'm pretty sure with my bearing and my pedigree, I would probably be, be part of the inner council of sorts.
Grounded in reality is what I admire about Wakanda, which is what he is not all about.
And you know how like Aquaman is king, and then they have like
you'd be a queen.
and then Mera is the queen.
Okay.
I would be, and then they have
like
their
a handmaiden.
And their baby is called Aqua Baby. True.
Really?
Yes.
So sad. It's like they lack creativity.
Yeah.
It's like,
Aqua
ooh,
Baby.
we have an Aqua Baby.
No, because they have
Aqua
Aqua Lad,
Baby.
right? There's Aqua Lad, and
There's
then
Aqua Infant, Aqua Toddler.
I would be
Aqualescent,
I would be Aqua person. I would be Aqua gender non-specific. I have a feeling that Atlantis would be very much like Wakanda on the surface.
Yeah.
How everything is flashy and gold and glittery, but there is like a lot of unrest underneath.
Yeah.
As opposed to Wakanda, which is more utopian in my. But in terms of
But I suppose they have their own struggles also. I mean, if you really think about it, the tribe of the what's the name of the big gorilla guy? The outsider tribe. You know how there are four
King
main
Kong.
tribe? King Kong. Umbaku. There you go. Umbaku. Thank you. Umbaku's tribe were before Infinity War. Umbaku's tribe, they were actually considered as sort of outcasts of Wakanda. So they have their own problems also. But I really like their fashion sense. Like I really wanted one of those like small platitos on my mouth. And like, I have no idea how this guy talks.
Or kisses.
Or kiss. Yeah. What do you do? Like how do you make out?
You bash plates.
You just sort of like, is it
we shouldn't do this. It doesn't look good.
Like you could totally edit stuff into that and
like nope.
Super weird. Nope. Super weird.
So let's talk about culture. Atlantis is such an interesting culture because it's military first and foremost. So a lot of it
so
really.
It's kind of like a dictatorship of sorts.
I'm just thinking a lot of them are mostly warriors.
Okay.
But then you also have like the side of them which is very mystical.
Right.
And there is the use of magic as well. So it's very rich in that sense. You have warriors, you have priests, you have priestesses.
How do they treat people who just want to live like a peaceful life? Like just to say, I just wanna. Do they eat fish? Are there fishermen in Atlantis?
What
do they eat?
Because they talk to fish.
I know. So
and fish are their friends.
Man, I'm really sorry about this, but I kind of have to eat you tonight. So hey.
No.
Kind of sounds like an invitation.
Because when Aquaman and Mera would eat
each other.
No. They go to a diner. They eat burgers.
Where do they get the meat from?
No. They go upland.
Oh, okay. So wait, that seems like such a hassle thing to do.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you live in you live in BGC and you have to go all the way to Tagaytay to eat. You know what I mean? Like that's just it doesn't seem convenient at all.
I'm sure they eat.
What do they eat?
I'm sure
do they eat fish? Do they eat their friends? Do they only eat crabs? Do they have crabs?
They have a lot of crabs in Atlantis.
That's never a good thing.
No. But I'm pretty sure, just like with us, some of us eat bigger animals than others. So I guess it's that. But I don't think they eat like big creatures because usually they're like part of the army.
So as long as you're a small fish, you're basically like if you're tilapia levels, you're okay. But if you're like a big lapu-lapu na, parang bro, di na pwede yan.
Maybe.
Friend na natin yan. Part ng army yan.
But definitely in terms of like lore, there's a lot of like mystical stuff going on. So I think that makes Atlantis culture more interesting.
So like let's just say with sharks.
Okay.
I mean, they're part of the army of Atlantis also, right?
Well,
they
Aquaman.
ride sharks?
No, Aquaman can talk to them.
Okay.
But the other Atlanteans cannot.
Okay, so sharks are only solely commanded by...
Yes, because he is the only one who can actually talk to the sea creatures. That's his power. Not even Mira can do that. But he can command them to...
So only Aquaman is the one who talks to all the underwater creatures?
Yes. Atlanteans cannot.
But they don't talk to them. I mean, they don't eat them either. Out of sheer respect for, oh, that's Aquaman's friend. I can't eat him.
Well, you can.
Seems like a very confusing place, this Atlantis. You know, with Wakanda, it's a little bit more... It's a little less complicated.
Okay.
You know, I mean, they eat meat, they eat vegetables, they eat pretty much whatever, you know, normal people eat.
Yeah.
And what I really love about the culture of Wakanda is, especially as at the end of the Black Panther movie, they actually opened up their borders. You know, they started thinking, yo, we're not the only people here. We got to include everyone else. So, you know, they learn from their mistakes. They learn from being too inclusive. They learn from, you know, shielding themselves off from the rest of the world. They were like, hey, if we can have it, you know, great here in Wakanda, why not make it the same for everyone, no matter the color of your skin?
But my best argument against that is we haven't seen Aquaman the movie. The moment that movie comes out, you'll see just how great Atlantis is.
No, and if you look at if you actually read any of the comic books, Atlanteans are always they're always portrayed as D-bags.
Well, yeah.
They're always
angry.
They're always dickish. You know?
Well, I wouldn't say dickish. It's just that they are a military society first and foremost.
They're kind of like Sparta. Yeah, sure, they're badass. They are to be there. It's horrible.
They're always at war. They're always overthrowing their king or their queen.
I mean, who wants to live in a scenario like that?
Warriors.
Great.
Warriors love that.
Everyone wants to
Did
be
you ever
a
hear
warrior.
Spartans say, "Ew, there's too much violence"?
And where are they now? Exactly.
Warriors.
Peace, my friends. That's what it's all about.
So, now we're here to give you our final pitch.
Oh, but before that, we'll talk about like the residents of Wakanda and Atlantis.
Okay.
You know, the people. I mean, that's what makes a place, right? That's what makes a home. The people who are in there. Think about Wakanda, for example. Okay, you have a great king in T'Challa. You have Shuri, his sister, who leads their technology department. Again, this is how forward-thinking Wakanda is. You know, they're very inclusive, they're LGBTQ++ friendly, they're super okay and comfortable with women being in power as well.
Yeah.
That's always something, that's the kind of place you want to live in at the end of the day, where equality is a thing.
All right, so since you brought that up, you know, Atlantis also had its share of kings and queens, as in ruling king, ruling queen. And currently, at least, you know, Aquaman is the king or Mira as the queen.
How do they treat women in their society though?
Oh,
like, you know, in Black Panther, they're so empowered.
Yeah. Definitely there too. Like I said, they are a nation of warriors.
Right.
So men and women, and when you look at their military, there's no like male soldiers and women soldiers. One of his lieutenants is a woman, and of course, there was a time it was Arthur who was king, another time Mira was queen, and then you have the priestesses who are like, you know, the religious leaders of Atlantis.
Right. Okay, that's pretty cool.
That's definitely like both men and women are, you know, do wield same amount of power in Atlantis.
But it still all boils down to the fact, which is, what do they eat? I still can't get over that. I mean, years and years of comic book lore, what do they eat down there?
You know what? I have no idea.
But hey, you know what? You should let us know. I mean, if you had the choice to live in either Wakanda, which I think is the better city.
Wakanda forever or Atlantis forever?
Yun yung okay sa Wakanda kasi may forever. Sa Atlanta ba meron? Atlanta?
Georgia?
Sa Georgia? Sa Atlanta meron?
Yeah, sa Atlantis.
Walang catchy saying. There is no catchphrase for Atlantis.
Wakanda is forever. Atlantis is the place this is.
we cannot be like on any of the board of tourism for either Wakanda
Marvel
or
call me. I don't think DC will have me.
Nope. No. Or maybe they'll hire you to be part of DC to wreck that world.
No, I'm just saying, Atlantis, it's not easy. They used to be air breathers, and the scientists just found a way to make them breathe underwater. So, they are a very adaptable people. And given that their entire city sank, they just thought, instead of like swimming to the surface and not have any place to live, let's find a way to start breathing underwater.
And I feel like Wakanda really is the place to be, just because, think about it, the biggest Marvel movie of all time, which is Avengers Infinity War, took place in Wakanda. You'll never have a fear of missing out. Like, you'll just be there. You'll know.
In the middle of battle.
Exciting times.
And wait for Aquaman, the movie. You will see just how awesome Atlantis is.
DC has, made believers out of all of us.